When somebody believes, like the monkey story that we heard earlier, that we evolved from chimpanzees, that we somehow climbed out of a primordial ooze, well, this is the type of thinking that is bound to come from it. Hey, I got news for you. I just don't think it's reasonable to suggest that somehow nothing became something, blew up and became everything, and got together, and after a while we climbed up out of the ooze and onto the shore, and now we're living happily ever after.
Millions of years ago, on a beautiful island, in the middle of a jungle, there was a habitat teeming with life. In a small pool of water, there lived a very happy and loving family of fish. Every day in the life of this family was filled with fun, swimming in the warm, clean waters and eating plenty of fresh food. There was never a dull moment for this family. Until one dry season, when the water in their pool began to evaporate. Day by day, the water withered, and there was no sign of rain in the sky. The family was scared and panicky, as they knew that the ultimate end of their species was upon them. Just when all hope was lost, a young, healthy fish cried out for their attention. They looked over at him and saw something they had never seen before. For this fish had the genes to grow legs and walk on land. No longer would he be bound by the water, limited by its shrinking state. He was going to walk on land. And as he took his first few heroic steps on dry ground and his first breath of air, he suffocated.
Nuts.
But luckily, there was another fish with legs who also had the genes to breathe out of water. He then turned around to wave goodbye to his dying family when he was burned to death by the scorching sun. Yet another fish came along with legs and lungs, and the scales on his back were tough as stone, which no sun could scorch. He traversed the land determined to survive, but his weak eyes failed him, and he fell down a hole and died. Another fish came, who was lucky enough to have been born with all the previous fish's genes. Plus, he had a gene that gave him perfect vision. He used his superior sight to find food, but no food existed on land that could be digested by his stomach, and so he starved to death. The next fish stepped up with an advantage over the others. He had a stomach fit for land food. One day, as he grazed on the fresh food, he fell victim to a larger, more fit land animal who made a meal out of him. The fish after that, along with all the previous genes, was endowed with a gene to make him larger and less eatable. He used his size to climb his way to the top of the food chain, where he lived for a long time. He lived life to the fullest and grew old. He had been naturally selected over all of his lesser fit brothers to survive, but without a mate to help pass his genes on, the fate of his species came to an end as he lay on the ground waiting for the maggots to decompose his filthy remains. Will not another fish come and save this species? Yes! Just then, a better fish than all who preceded him came equipped with so many genes that there was nothing on dry land that could bring him down. Plus, he had a wife. So he and his wife bore children and lived for a long time. When finally, the rain began to pour again, the fish was so excited, he gathered all his children and wife and jumped into a pool, where they all drowned.
Well, maybe next evolutionary cycle. You did not evolve from a rock! God made you!